Most things in life lose value. Your car? It's worth less the moment you drive it off the lot. That brand new iPhone? Give it a year and the next model makes yours look ancient. Even money itself loses purchasing power over time due to inflation. But some things don't just hold their value, they grow in value. The most successful people put their money in assets that survive recessions, outlast market crashes, and even appreciate when everything else crumbles. So, if you're serious about keeping your money safe, growing your wealth, and making sure what you own actually lasts, you need to pay attention to these 8 assets, long-lasting assets the wealthy have been holding on to for centuries. Let's get into it. 1. Art and music. You ever wonder why wealthy and rich spend ridiculous amounts of money on paintings? Why are investors out here buying rights to music catalogs? Think about it. People still pay millions for Picasso art pieces. Beethoven's music is still being played centuries after his death, and Shakespeare's plays, ancient poetry, and classic novels still sell. Why? Because true art doesn't just exist, it lives across generations. Art and music are some of the most culturally and emotionally valuable assets on Earth. A well-crafted painting, a legendary song, or a book that touches the human soul never loses value and becomes more valuable over time. The reason? Scarcity and sentiment. Contemporary artists are making waves in the investing world. Banksy, Basquiat, and even digital art aren't just pictures, they're wealth in a frame. Music rights? Same thing. When a song becomes a classic, it keeps making money forever. Every time it's streamed, played in a movie, or used in a commercial, someone's getting paid. That's why major artists are selling their music catalogs for hundreds of millions. There will never be another original Mona Lisa. There will never be another first pressing of a Beatles album. When an artist dies or stops creating, their work becomes even more rare, and that skyrockets its value. Now, you might not be a millionaire art collector yet, but investing in limited edition vinyl records, first edition books, or rare collectibles can be a smart move. Why does this work? Because people always want entertainment and always want nostalgia. They want music, they want visuals, they want something that represents their culture. And the right piece of art or music becomes timeless. Art and music are emotional currencies, and anything that taps into human emotion never loses value. That's wealth that keeps paying long after it was created. 2. Land. There's one thing they're not making any more of: land. You can print money, you can make new businesses, but you can't create more land. And that's exactly why it's one of the most valuable assets you can own. It's a limited supply. People will always need land for homes, for food, for businesses. Agricultural land. That's feeding the world. Trees. They're giving us fresh air. Mineral-rich land. If your land has oil, gold, or other natural resources underneath, it's an automatic ticket to long-term value. And let's not forget, when the world gets more crowded, land becomes even more valuable because cities keep expanding, populations keep growing, and demand for land only goes up. Rich people know this. That's why they buy land, sit on it for decades, and sell it for 10 times what they paid. Land is a wealth-building cheat code. You ever wonder why people fight over land? Because whoever owns the land owns the future, and at the end of the day, people need space to exist. 3. Real estate. Land is valuable, but land with a house or building on it, that's even better. Think about it. Shelter is a basic human need. As long as people need places to live, work, and operate businesses, real estate will never lose value. Whether you rent, own, or invest in property, real estate is one of the most stable assets out there. Also, not all real estate is created equal. Some houses lose value over time, and some locations decline. But prime real estate? That's a different story. A house in a growing city? That's money. A rental property in a high-demand area, that's money. A commercial building in a booming industry zone, that's money. Look at any major city, housing prices might fluctuate, but over time, they always go up. A house bought for $50,000 in the 70s is worth $500,000 today. And in the right markets, real estate can make millionaires. Even if the housing market crashes, real estate always bounces back. It's a hard asset, something you can touch, rent, renovate, or sell. Long term, it's one of the safest bets you can make. 4. Stocks in big companies. People love to talk about stocks like they're some gamble, and sure, if you're throwing money at random meme stocks. But the truth is, if you invest in big, most essential, stable companies in tech, healthcare, energy, and food, your money will grow. Think about companies like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Coca-Cola. These businesses aren't going anywhere. These aren't just companies, they're pillars of civilization. As long as the world keeps spinning, people will keep using their products. People are still buying iPhones, still shopping online, still drinking soda. The key is long-term investing. If you put your money in strong, established companies and let it grow over decades, you're setting yourself up for serious wealth. Dividends, stock splits, company growth, it all adds up. We're talking about assets that don't just hold their value, they increase in value over time. 5. Intellectual property. What's better than getting paid once? Getting paid forever for something you created once. Royalties, patents, copyrights, and trademarks are money printers. Books? Authors get royalties every time a book sells. Patents? If you invent something useful, companies will pay to use your idea. Copyrights? If you own the rights to something valuable, that's income for life. The best part is that you only have to create it once, and if your intellectual property is strong enough, it keeps making money for generations. Think about Walt Disney. He died in 1966, but his creations are worth billions today. If you can create something once and get paid forever, why wouldn't you? 6. Gold and other precious metals. Gold has been valuable for thousands of years. Long before there were banks, stock markets, or digital currencies, people traded gold. And guess what? It's still one of the safest assets today. Why? Because gold doesn't lose value. It doesn't rust, it doesn't disappear, and it's always in demand. When economies crash, when currencies lose value, people run to gold, silver, platinum, diamonds. Same idea. These materials are always needed for industries, jewelry, and technology. That's why the wealthy always have a portion of their money in gold and precious metals. 7. Rare whiskey and wine. Here's a wild one most people don't think about: alcohol. You might not think of alcohol as an investment, but the rarest bottles of whiskey and wine have outperformed the stock market in some years. There's a reason collectors and investors are buying up rare bottles. Some whiskeys and wines have increased in value by hundreds of % over the years. The rarer it gets, the more valuable it becomes. It's the same concept as art. Scarcity creates demand. A 50-year-old whiskey isn't just a drink, it's an investment. When there are only a few bottles left in the world, rich people will pay anything to own them. And that's how luxury works. The rarer it gets, the more valuable it becomes. 8. Knowledge. Everything else in life, money, property, even your career, can be taken away in an instant. But knowledge, it's the foundation of every form of success, and it's yours forever. It's the ultimate unfair advantage because once you learn something, it shapes how you think, how you make decisions, and how you create wealth. The wealthiest people in the world aren't just rich because of luck or because they have the money. They're rich because they understand how money works, how markets move, how businesses grow, and how opportunities are created. Knowledge compounds just like money. Every book you read, every skill you learn, every lesson you absorb stacks up like interest, making you more valuable over time. And the best part? No one can steal, devalue, or take away from you. A millionaire who loses everything but has the right knowledge will always make it back, while someone without knowledge could be handed a fortune and still end up broke. That's why education, whether formal or self-taught, is the single greatest investment you can make, because once you have the right information, you'll never be broke again. That's why the greatest asset you'll ever own isn't in a bank account or a vault, it's in your mind. If you want to build wealth, focus on assets that last, because money can come and go, but smart investments stick around. If you want real wealth, invest in things that stand the test of time, assets that hold value no matter what happens in the world. The people who do this, they don't just stay rich, they get richer. And the best part? You can start today.